and welcome to class 1. I'm sure you have done your induction and I hope you didn't forget to fill the assessment tracker because it is super important that you do that. Having said that, let's get this class started. We're going to be discussing who a virtual assistant is, the models of virtual assistants, the types of virtual assistants, and the virtual assistants that are currently in demand. So let's start from the very top. Who is a virtual assistant? I want you to leave your answers in the comments. When you hear this person is a virtual assistant, what do you think? What comes to your mind? Just leave your answers in the comments. Don't overthink it. Don't bother. Don't worry yourself. Just say what you think in the comments, okay? We're here to learn. Nobody knows everything. Nobody knows it all. So don't overthink it. Just type in the comments. I'll give you 3 more seconds to get that done. So let me tell you who a virtual assistant is. I know that you definitely have seen different definitions on social media, on Google, and so many other places that you probably would have researched before watching this video. But I want you to understand that all of those definitions you have seen are correct and accurate. However, I want you to hold this one very dear to you. A virtual assistant is a remote professional who renders creative and technical services. Okay, I'm not saying you render the services to business owners or to these people, because a virtual assistant, unlike before, a virtual assistant could only render services to business owners. Hence, virtual assistance was a B2B. Now, in 2025 and in 2026 and in years to come, virtual assistants keeps evolving and keeps getting better and better every day. Okay, the industry is getting more and more saturated, more and more competitive. All right, so that is why virtual assistance is no longer a B2B. It is now both B2B and B2C. By B2B, I mean business to business, meaning virtual assistance is a business and you're rendering services to business owners. But now virtual assistance is both for business owners and for clients, consumers. All right, it's not only business to business owners now. Now, with that definition, I want you to understand that it is not only those that are doing no-code tech, or those that are doing landing pages, or those that are doing customer support or email management that are virtual assistants. Did you get that? Should I say it again? Is it a surprise? If it is a surprise, well, welcome on board. That's why you are here. So, when I started out in the industry many years ago, I was also thinking in that line, in that direction, that virtual assistance is for a particular set of people, or that it's a very special name for a very special set of people. But over the years in practice, I started to understand that virtual assistance is actually what the name is. The two words are very self-explanatory. Virtual meaning remotely, meaning you don't have to commute from a place to another to do what you have to do. Assistance, to help, right, to relieve people, rendering services. So virtual assistant, it definitely simply means assisting people virtually. So you can be assisting people to create content, you can be assisting people to make posts on social media, you can be assisting people to do administrative tasks, you can be assisting people to manage their email, you can be assisting people to do anything virtually. That's what makes you a virtual assistant. Okay, that's by title. Now, by skill, what makes you a virtual assistant is that you have the right skills required to render your services to your clients. I hope you now know who a virtual assistant is. Now, let me tell you who a virtual assistant is not. A virtual assistant is not a social errand runner. A virtual assistant is not also a hustler. A virtual assistant is not a cheap laborer or an online errand person, errand girl, errand boy, errand whatever. That's not what a virtual assistant is, and that's not who a virtual assistant is. One of the major things you need to know and embody in this industry is that confidence is king for a virtual assistant. Because sometimes when you tell people that you're a virtual assistant, they give you that look like, what are you saying? Is that even a thing? Is that a job? Go get a job. People told me that so many times, several times. I'm telling you, up until 2023, 2022, people were telling me to do something with my life instead of wasting my time, all in the name of social media management. So one of the things that will help you is your conviction and your confidence. You need to really be confident in this industry, and it's that confidence that will help you know who a virtual assistant is not. A virtual assistant is not an errand boy or errand girl. Is not an online errand person. Okay, a virtual assistant is not an online idle person or a cheap laborer, someone you just tell them to just do copy and paste because you can't do it, or because you don't have the time for it, so you just call them to do it and you just pay them. No, that's not what a virtual assistant is. And if you have been carrying yourself like that, it stops after this video, right? I need you in the comments to write, I am a professional virtual assistant, and I don't just render my services, I steward my skills. I need you to write it, and I need you to say it to yourself. Say, I am a professional virtual assistant, and I don't just render services, I also steward my skills. If you know this, you will really carry yourself with that pride that you're not just a service provider, but you are also a steward. And that's one of the things we highly believe in DKE, right? That we're not just service providers, we are also stewards. So now we know who a virtual assistant is, who a virtual assistant is not. We now know what are the two models of virtual assistants. The first model is the freelance virtual assistant. A freelance virtual assistant is the virtual assistant that works for herself, that does not have any interference of an agency or a company. All right, a freelance virtual assistant is the virtual assistant that you commonly see on social media, where everyone is their own boss, doing their own thing, calling the shots. An agency virtual assistant, on the other hand, is the virtual assistant that works with an agency or that works with a company, that has an agency interfacing between them and their clients. Okay, both models of virtual assistants are lucrative and demanding. Lucrative because it brings financial freedom, and demanding because you have to put in a lot of work. When I hear people say, oh, I want to intern with you, and I just want to do this by the side, it cracks me up a lot, because virtual assistance is not something you do by the side. This job, this career path is very demanding, and if you really want to do it, you might as well commit your time, commit yourself, dedicate your time to doing it. That is when you get paid in 6 figures, 7 figures in dollars, like you see on social media. Okay, nobody wants to pay you, nobody wants to hire you or commit their brand or their personal projects to you, knowing that you have divided attention, that you have a job, you have something else you are doing. In fact, sometimes when they hear that you are nursing a child, nobody really wants to commit projects to you, because they believe that you will not pay attention to details or you will not be efficient. So talk more of you trying to be a full-time virtual assistant, but you want to do it by the side, or you wanting to step into the very saturated and competitive industry and you want to do it by the side. It really cracks me up, because there's nothing like doing it by this. It's not a side hustle. No, it's not. If you had that mindset before, I need you to unlearn now. Virtual assistance is not a side hustle, and it's not cheap labor. Okay, virtual assistance is real, and it is for real people. It is for people that are ready to render services and steward their skills. And I believe that you watching this video right now as a DKE intern, you are actually one of those people, and I'm really excited for you, because by the end of this internship program, you will confidently step into the industry to sign your own very premium clients that are waiting for you to be equipped, and that is why you are here right now. So now you know who a virtual assistant is, who a virtual assistant is not, and the two models of virtual assistant. Now let's talk about the types of virtual assistants. I know that you have heard different types of virtual assistants. However, I'll just mention a few. I'll mention the administrative virtual assistant, the marketing virtual assistant, the customer support virtual assistants, and the social media virtual assistants. Okay, I didn't mention them in any particular order, because there is none that is greater than the other. However, Like I'm always asked, if you ask me in this class, which of these types of virtual assistants are clients always demanding for, I'm going to tell you categorically that it is the social media virtual assistant. And that is because every other day, businesses and brands are storming the streets of social media, seeking visibility, seeking sales, seeking engagement, and seeking to build a community. All right. And that is why these people are always constantly in need of competent virtual assistants, social media virtual assistants. All right. And that is why that particular virtual assistant industry has a very large market. I tell you, as much as the industry is saturated, people are getting hired, people are getting paid as well. All right. And I want to believe that you watching this video, you're going to be one of those people that will even thrive, even when people are saying that the industry is saturated, even when people are saying that nobody is signing them up. You're going to be one of the virtual assistants that are highly sought after. Now we know who a virtual assistant is, who a virtual assistant is not, the two models of virtual assistants, and the types of virtual assistants, and the virtual assistants that are in demand currently. Okay, so we're going to be dissecting this particular virtual assistant that is currently in demand, and we're going to be talking about the skills that make them efficient and what clients are expecting from social media managers. Sometimes people say that social media managers are not content creators, and again, it cracks me up, because you cannot be a social media manager without creating content. First of all, you need to understand what content is. What is a content? Content is anything, any material, any file that you communicate with people visually. That is what a content is. It could be written, it could be videos, it could be pictures, it could be graphics design. All of these put together are content. Okay, content creation is not only what you see on TikTok, people going live, and the very popular ones, the influencers that we know. That's not just what content creation or content creators are, or who content creators are. A virtual assistant is a content creator. See, I want you to break every stereotype that you used to have about virtual assistants and who a virtual assistant is. I need you to break out of every stereotype that you have heard about virtual assistants, and it's one of the things that will help you to thrive in the industry. Because if you continue going with the mindset of what you were taught in 1960, or what your coaches told you 4, 5, 7 years ago, then you might not really thrive currently in the industry. The virtual assistance industry is always evolving, always growing, always changing, and always becoming better. And the only people that are thriving in the industry currently are those that are also growing, are those that are also investing in themselves and constantly growing. If you are not growing as a virtual assistant, you might not be hired constantly. You might not get clients, or even premium clients like everyone aspires. Okay, so I'm saying that to say that a virtual assistant is a content creator. Or somebody might say that, oh, I don't agree with you. I joined one coach or one course, and they told me that a virtual assistant is not a content creator. I'm sorry, but they play. Virtual assistants are content creators, especially social media virtual assistants. Now, let me tell you, as a social media manager, there are so many things that your clients are expecting from you. All right, but we're going to be discussing all of that in details in the next class. So we're going to be dissecting who they are, what they do, how they do it in our next class. In the comments, I need you to write these 3 things. One thing you have learned from this class, one thing you're going to be applying moving forward in this program that you learned from this class, and one thing that stood out for you. I hope you learned something. See you in the next class.